Hi there, this is Ida Norris from the Judges Box. And we have a writer, an English dressage writer, Dana Roberts from Georgia, riding one of her wonderful rescued Mustangs in intro and at a schooling show. So she's an intro test, and we're going to have a look at her 20-meter circles. So here we go. We're going to get her moving along here. Isn't it amazing how much background stuff is going on? And the horse is pretty attentive, so we really like that. You know, what I really appreciate here is that he's active. And although he took a look at some of the other horses, you know, his tempo kept going, his energy level kept going, which was amazing. There was a lot going on. There was a horse right here. You got the reader reading, a lot of background noise. Even we could hear the crowd, which was absolutely amazing. So, you know, an intro is another whole ball game in dressage. And the interesting thing about this is that intro tests are written by USDF, United States Dressage Federation, as opposed to them being United States Federation, the equestrian USEF, what we've thought of all these years, tests. And what that means is that there is a little bit different, there's more variation in the judging of the intro test than any other test at any other level. And we're thinking that this is a test to allow horses to become introduced to dressage, but some judges judge this very much like training level, and that they're looking for the horse to be as round on the bit and as active on and to the bit. And it's a little bit different for every judge. Now, maybe it's because I started horses so much in my lifetime that I kind of expect um, these intro horses to possibly be really green horses. I'm just backing them up here because what we see is that this beautiful horse who kept a lot of energy and steady tempo throughout is not super in connection, is a little bit unconnected here. And we see what we think might be a possibly a little bit of a green rider. She's got a little bit of a chair seat going on. Her leg is slipping out from under her a little bit. Now, what we know about posting is that if you can get your foot just a little further in the stirrup, you'll have more support under you. And if you can keep your lower leg down, and it needs to be on the sweet spot, which is right down here under this saddle pad, this rider might be more in balance. Right now, she's a little unsteady in her posting. So all of that contributes to having lack of balance to get connection. Hands closer together and lower will help. And then we're hoping that she'll be able to utilize her half halts. What I liked about it was that I think the geometry looks pretty good. You know, it looks kind of like he's going around. The circle looks about right in the shape. He touches the track there. And man, he just keeps a steady tempo. And with all this brouhaha going on, he, you know, wow, isn't that amazing? You got a rescued Mustang and he's that like attentive to his rider. Like, wow. So that part's all good. I wish he was more connected, and he has a hollow top line. Now comes the controversy. A lot of this depends on how the judges look at whether they judge this very much like, you know, training level, and if they feel like USDF intro tests should be like training level. Certainly in intro test one, a trot circle like this for me is kind of six-ish, 6L probably, because really I'm looking for it to have a little more connection. But I'm not making it marginal, even though it doesn't have connection, because the impulsion made me happy. There was plenty of energy, tempo was good, and I like the geometry. So I would probably say to my colleagues that might be a little critical of me. They might say I was a little bit generous, but I would say to them, you know, I really like the fact that this horse swings along There was a lot of distraction. He paid attention to his rider. He is a little hollow in the top line, but I really appreciate that he didn't freak out. He just took a look at something and he was right there with his rider and never came off that circle shape at all. So that all is pretty good for me. And then, the next thing is connection. So I'm kind of 6-0 on that. And, I know that some of my colleagues might be in kind of a 5-5-ish, maybe five, but probably 5-5-ish because they're saying, well, he's not really in connection. But let's just let him finish out this little movement and see how he does as he approaches the rail. And I felt like he stepped into his left rein there, and this rider's pretty straight. And there's a horse again, really close to the ring, and that horse is just like, woohoo, I'm fine. So here is where we can see, as you're watching her post up and down, that she's just a little behind the motion of the horse, and that has to do with not being quite balanced. Here we can see within the equitation that she's got to collapse over the right rib cage. You see the shoulders aren't quite straight. And I think if we push the button for her to come up and down and post, that we'll see that maybe the hips don't post straight or level. This often happens when you have a collapse through the rib cage. Yeah, little bit left hip higher as she posted, but into a really quiet halt, which the horse held the halt, and he just had one right hind leg back. So, overall, a kind of really pleasant horse. And what impressed me was his attentiveness with all this distraction going on. People wandering around really close to him, really close to the ring, yik yakking, people talking, stuff going on. That was pretty impressive. And this rider definitely has a good start, and just we have some suggestions for her equitation. So pretty impressive for a rescue Mustang coming into an environment like that and paying attention. I think due to the lack of connection, kind of maybe the center line looked a little more connected, and from the front, I think it was pretty straight. Wasn't quite balanced, but I'm 6'5" on that probably, and probably 6 on the circle. But certainly as far as show breaking the horse and the horse's attention, I'm thinking, wow, this gal's done a great job there. So lots going on for this really cool Mustang. And thanks for sending them in. And you are always allowed to be anonymous. You just put on the paper form. It's not a paper form, it's the form that you apply with, which is online. That if you don't want us to use your name, we don't. But we're happy to help anyone. So feel free to send in a clip. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching. If you like the information we provided today, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Also check out IdaNorrisDressage.com and Ida Norris Western Dressage on Facebook.